Hi Shay, it's Lauralee. So we're working with the WP Clone plugin and it's getting all hung up with this error message. But when I asked WP Clone to just do a backup of your database, it was like no problem at all. It just zipped right through it and it was done in seconds. So we have that URL right here, but that's just the backup or just the database part, which is like posts and comments and all that good stuff, but not your theme, and that's obviously what you want. So what I think is happening, because I could see when I go into your appearance and your plugins that there's quite a few plugins and themes that you're not using, and I suspect that there's a bit of a it's making the file so large that your hosting company doesn't want to do the full backup for you, or I mean it's timing out as it's trying to do the whole backup. So I'm wondering if maybe you could clean out the ones that you're not using, especially because you're using this as a your demo types site. You really only need like the basics. You want the ones that are working and everything else to be as lightweight as possible. So I'm going to show you over in my cPanel. I know your cPanel will look different than mine, but I'm just going over to the directory where one of my websites are, and I'm drilling down into the WP content because that's what WP Clone is copying. So it's copying everything from your WP content folder, so the plugins, the themes, any upgrades, any uploads. So if you on mine, I'm going to just open them up here on the sidebar. Hopefully you can see that. And you can see that I have all of these plugins here. Now, if some of them I'm not using anymore, I could just, let's see, I'll click on here. I would just select this and click delete to get rid of it. Obviously, you don't want to do that without being really careful. You don't want to just delete a bunch of stuff and then obviously you need it later. But in this case, you may even delete some of the really heavy ones and then manually install it back on the new site. It would still probably save you a ton of time if you could bring over your theme and everything and then add back one or two things that make your life easier. So that's my thought, the plugins, and then also go over to your themes where I noticed that you had extra themes installed. So similar to the one on this directory that I'm looking at right now, I have Responsive 2011 and all of these extra themes that I don't need at all. So I'm going to just click delete on the ones I'm not using, and it will lighten the load when it's actually doing that WP Clone. If the file is smaller, I think, my intuition says, and probably yours does too, that it will be able to actually do the backup, especially knowing that it did successfully back up the database part of it. So the plugin itself is working, but there's just too much, I think, in the file, so that when your server is trying to talk to to make that backup, it's timing out before it's done. So yeah, that's my thoughts on that. If there's anything in your uploads folder, you might want to check on that as well and see, like in mine, I have my WP Clone, and you might have a couple of backup files in there that you could delete too. So just, or if you have a lot of files in your uploads, you could check that as well, just to see what kind of image files you're looking at. Okay. So I hope that helps a little bit, and we'll give that a test. Okay. Thanks. Bye for now.